All right, well, it's a cloudy, misty, chilly day, and it's the first Monday in a very long time that I'm not going to be out every night this week. We have no more softball, Twillery tournament's over. We have basketball on Thursday nights, but tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, free. It's so strange. It's been so many months, literally the last 3-4 months of being out almost every single night, every single week. So I'm feeling a little more free. I am aware that there were no power rankings done this past week for basketball. We'll have for this week. However, I still wanted to get on here and talk a little about HSL basketball. Now that we're done with softball and the Twillery tournament, the focus really shifting to basketball. We have 2 tiers, as everyone here knows, and I want to just off the cuff. Usually before these podcasts, I'll have my little notes, my little power rankings. I'll look at the matchups and the stats. Just an off the cuff little talk about the league here for you guys to listen to and enjoy. Of course, we have 2 tiers, 5 teams in tier 2. We had 10 teams in tier 1. I'll start with tier 2, and I just want to say that last night I rolled in to the Mava Capital versus Clutch Auto Trade game. The intensity in that gym was through the roof. Mava Capital always brings a good crowd with Yuri and his boys showing up to games, and it was loud. And the competitiveness in tier 2 is way more than I imagine. David Gottlieb and I started at tier 2. You really to show teams that it's okay to play tier 2 basketball and it could still be competitive. And I think we've really hit that on the head 1,000%. I think any single team in tier 2 right now can win the championship. Small exception might be Advanced Power and Controls, who have been very competitive in games and also have been blown out of games. I think they have to really bring a lot more than their 7-8 guys. But between Barbacoa, Mava Capital, Crown Care, Clutch Auto Trade, and even to an extent, Advanced Power and Controls, every single game is close. From what I understood, Mava Capital was down like 17-3 last night. They came all the way back, took the lead, ended up losing by a few points when I got there. It's just amazing to see. The competition, we already have 1 new team for tier 2 committed. So assuming all 5 teams stick with us for the winter, we'll be at 6 teams in tier 2, which is amazing. Obviously always open for more. Registration's still open for a while. But it's just amazing to see. The competition, 2-3 weeks left, is a strong battle for that 1 spot between Crown Care and Barbacoa. There's a battle for the 4 and 5 spot with Mava Capital and Advanced Power and Controls. A lot to play for, a lot of intensity, and we're super excited. Moving on to tier 1, obviously tier 1 is going to be intense, super competitive. It's the best of the best that HSL has to offer, and it's shown. The matchups in tier 1, the past couple of weeks, we go through them all. Some really intense matchups. You had the Silver Key versus Fly Viper matchup last week, which was a huge test for Silver Key, and a shout out for Silver Key, working with us, the commissioners, and the scheduling, and allowing for that little bit of a switch to make the schedule more fair. They were missing 1 or 2 key players. Vly was also in Vly's defense. I was actually missed that game. I was sick, but it was super competitive, super intense, down to the wire. When you see a guy like Noah Aaron, giving his patent fist pump. You see Noah all the time in softball. He had a big triple in the Twillery tournament championship game, or maybe the semifinal game. He would stand there. But basketball, after that win, I saw the video. I posted someone, Moshe Kraft got videos for us. Thank you to Moshe. And he gave a massive, big pump in the air, all pumped after they won. Very intense battle. So many talented players on both sides. Vly could come with the regular roster. I really think they're the team to beat. I don't even think it's so close. I've said it before. I think they're plus minus 9.5, 10.5, 11.5 favorites to win the championship in a championship game. We also had the Rides to Fly versus Fly game, another super, super intense game where Rides to Fly was really put in their place. Now, you'll speak to Rides to Fly, you'll speak to Yisrael Wasser, you'll speak to All Swing. They'll tell you they're missing 2 very key pieces, which they were. They were missing a big, which against the Fly is extremely crucial. Fly's a massive team with Noah Aaron, Jack Ross, Uriel Alone. Even their guards being big with Khalili, and when Sharif is there, unbelievable team, and they got shooters, Ibrahimi, and but it's something that if you ask Rides to Fly, Wasser's team coming into in the fall last year, and even coming into the winter, they would never have imagined that they could lose that badly, even without 2 of their guys. They always were missing guys, and they cruised, and they turned up when they needed to, and they got really, really pummeled. Also Olam Realty, another team that's a really good team, and I know that one of their big losses, against Cobra, came after a championship game, and they're exhausted. And another loss to Rides to Fly came literally without their whole roster, but they're 2-3 right now. They lost last night. Also to Fly, super competitive game. Yes, Olam again was missing their center, They're missing a guard, and Vly was also missing a couple of pieces, although they did pick up, forget his name, but the coach for North Shore in the Yeshiva League world, a very hush of a human being, who's an amazing player as well, had basically won the game for Vly in overtime. But a tough battle, and Olam Realty, again, you asked them, in the fall, winter of last year, that they'll be 2-3 and sitting in the 6th seed, 5 games into the season, like, they would never have told you yes. And then you got teams like P4P who came in with zero expectations. I thought they were the worst team in Tier 1 by far. Last night they got a pretty good beat, a whooping. It was close in the first half, and now is their real test, as the next three games are also against top-tier teams, Rides to Fly, Dax Music, and I think Olam Realty. They just played last night against Silver Key and, lost by 25 or 30. But they're 3-2, so they're sitting up there. They're taking care of business. And then you got team like, Boris M. Tax Planning, Law, that was last year, Invent Wealth, who had a big win last night. They're 1-3, but they could easily be 3-1. All their losses get by 4 or less points. And speaking of easily being a certain record, Altbank, poor Altbank, also sitting at 1-4 now. Their last 2 losses, they had 10-plus point leads. With under 2 minutes to go, they blew them and lost on a last-second shot with 3 seconds or less. So really, really, super competitive up and down. Cobra Rentals, that team that we, just said a moment ago, beat Olam Realty, also 1-3, but they have a really talented team. They played Rides to Fly, and, they were scoring bucket for bucket with them, through most of the first half. Rides to Fly then do what they do, and they pulled away and won pretty comfortably. But another team that's really, really competitive. And then you got FM Home Loans and Mr. Dvir. FM also, another team that hangs around the whole first half, part of the second half, and then they really lose it in the end, mostly due to coming with 5 guys. They finally came with 6 guys against Olam Realty. I was not there. That was that Thursday night. They had a big lead, and they blew it. Again, I'm not sure exactly the details. I got to some of the videos from Kraft, but, another team that, they know what they're doing. They've been playing basketball together for a very long time. If they come with 6 guys, they're also a dangerous team. Also right in the playoff hunt at 1-3. I don't want to miss anybody. Ellie Dax Music, of course, with C. Winter, when he's there, they're a super, super threat. Also coming in, I think they're 3-1 or 3-2. I think 3-1. But just a super competitive Tier 1 and Tier 2. And I'm just super thrilled. A lot of good matchups coming up. A lot of teams fighting it out for that 1 seed. Of course, Vly is in first at 4-1. You got Silver Key at 4-2. You got, I think Vly might be 4-1 or 5-1. You got Rides to Fly at 4-1. I think Vly's 5-1 now. Dax Music is 3-1. Dax Music, Plumbers Haven. I don't want to forget you, Plumbers Haven. A lot of teams up there. And a lot of teams, like I said, fighting for the 6-7 playing spot. Cobra Rentals, FM Home Loans, Altbank, Boris M, Invent Wealth. A lot of teams fighting for the top seeds. A lot of teams fighting for the bottom seeds. Even Olam Realty at 2-3, they're in danger of falling to a playing game. Now, you don't want to be stuck in the playing game against Olam Realty, but anything could happen in one game. You saw Olam Realty against Cobra Rentals. Again, it was off a back-to-back, but you never know what can happen. So I wanted to just jump on here and say we are super pumped to finish out this season. We got the MVP award going to be announced, of course, at the end of the season. We got playoffs. We got our big championship event, January 4th, I think it is. So make sure to mark that calendar down. We got the Tuileries 3-point shootout for that event. So every single team will be involved, whether you're playing in the championship game or not. So we're super excited for that. I know I hit every Tier 2 team. If I missed a Tier 1 team, I sincerely apologize to the team and to the sponsor. Again, this is all off the cuff. Some nice content out there for you guys. And yeah, we're super excited. Again, it's my pleasure. It's my dream to be there doing videos and highlights. I love it. I love what I'm doing, and hopefully this sort of has a ripple effect into the league. I know we do have issues that need to be fixed. It's been very, very, it's been very, very clear to me and to, our co-commissioner, David Gottlieb, on the different issues. We're not ignoring it. Things are complicated, but we are working on it, and we appreciate everybody's feedback. But the general vibe is that everyone loves it, and we are so happy that people are thrilled. We want to keep it, this way. We want to keep the hype, keep the pump, especially now that softball's over. It's a basketball town now for the next few weeks of fall and for the whole winter. So, let's do it. Let's continue. Let's bring the hype. Let's bring the pump. We do have softball starting in South Florida, so that's something that's exciting, very exciting. Maybe we'll do basketball down there also. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Nice HSL Youth cap, Smash House, and we are looking forward. I think this is actually the OG cap. This is before we even brought on Town Appliance. Just Smash House on here, right? Yeah. So we're looking forward We got some more good matchups Thursday night. I won't be there, actually. I'm going out to South Florida for our opening night for men's high school basketball and men's softball. But we got 3 weeks left. We got very tough competition. And yeah, I think I hit everything. Let me see if I could test myself and hit all 10 teams. I did tier 2 already. Got P4P, Boris Emin Event Wealth, FM Home Loans, Corporate Rentals, Olam Realty. Rides to Fly is 6. Oof, this can be tough. Fly Vipers is 7. Alt Bank is 8. Man, oh man, I gotta remember our sponsors. I can't even remember who I said, so that stinks, but got 8, so that's not bad. Anyways, I think I went through everybody throughout this. If I didn't, again, I sincerely apologize, and will be one of the biggest waste of 11 minutes of my life. I missed out on a sponsor. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. We're super excited for the end of the season. Can't wait. And that's it. Thanks, guys. Walk and Talk. I think this is Walk and Talk Fast, episode 7, maybe? By the way, thank you.